They noticed that you stopped chasing, and something inside them began to change. This is not just a random moment that brought you here tonight. Something led you to this message because a shift has already happened. Not in them first, but in you. You are no longer the same person you were before. Your energy has changed. Your heart has become quieter. Your focus has returned to yourself. And somehow, they can feel that difference. They feel the space where your constant effort used to be. They feel the silence where your messages, your questions, and your attempts to hold everything together once existed. And that feeling is affecting them in a way they never expected. What they feel for you is deeper than simple admiration. It is more than familiarity. It is more than the comfort of knowing someone was always there. It is a feeling that reaches beyond logic. A feeling that does not disappear just because someone decides to walk away. A feeling that does not follow pride, timing, or fear. They believed distance would make everything easier. They believed time would erase what happened between you. But they discovered something they did not expect. Real connections do not vanish just because people create space. You did not create this bond because you were lonely. You did not imagine every moment, every conversation, every emotion that existed between you. What happened was meaningful. What happened left a mark. And sometimes the strongest proof of a connection is not how someone reacts when you are close, but what they feel when you are no longer reaching for them. Stay with this message, because this part matters. The moment you stopped searching for their attention, something powerful happened. You started coming back to yourself. When you stopped chasing, when you stopped trying to prove your worth, when you stopped giving all your energy away, they felt the difference. It was like a familiar light becoming softer, like the warmth of a room slowly changing when someone leaves. They realized your presence was not something they could take for granted. They realized the person who always showed up was finally choosing themselves. Place your hand gently on your chest for a moment. Feel your heartbeat. Feel that quiet strength inside you. That is real. The love, care, and sincerity you carried were real too. And when something reminds them of you, they remember the feeling you brought into their life. Maybe it is a song. Maybe it is a place. Maybe it is a simple moment that suddenly brings your memory back. You are remembered because you mattered. You were never too much. You were never a burden for feeling deeply. You were someone who showed up with honesty and a heart that wanted something genuine. They may not have known how to handle that. They may not have understood the value of what was in front of them, but your worth was never decided by their ability to recognize it. Something greater saw every moment. Every time you reached out and they became distant. Every time you stayed kind even when you felt hurt. Every night you carried emotions that no one else could see. Every morning you found a reason to keep moving forward. Your journey was not invisible. You were always seen. And now the most important thing is that you see yourself. You have always been noticed. You have always mattered. And the universe wants you to understand this tonight. Something is happening beyond the silence. Something is moving behind the scenes. Something they have not shared with you. Something they may not even fully understand inside themselves yet. But there is a deeper truth unfolding. Stay with me until the end, because later in this message, you will discover what these quiet moments and hidden tests may actually reveal. You may see their actions differently after this. You may understand why their distance was not as simple as it appeared. Write "I stopped chasing" in the comments right now. Let those words be a reminder to yourself. This is about your growth. This is about your strength. The universe sees every person who writes those words, and it understands the journey that brought you to this moment. Welcome to this message. If this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notifications, because something meaningful brought you here. Do not let this be the only time you listen. Sometimes the right message finds you exactly when you need it most. What they feel for you may be deeper than you realize. It is not only uncertainty. It is not just mixed emotions. Simple admiration does not keep someone thinking late into the night. Familiarity alone does not create that sudden rush when they see your name appear on their screen. Some feelings are difficult to explain because they are connected to something deeper. What they feel may not disappear just because they create distance. Sometimes people hide what they cannot face. Sometimes they become quiet because the emotion feels bigger than their ability to handle it. They realized something changed in you, not because you disappeared physically, but because your energy became different. They reached out in the same way they always had, expecting the same reaction, but something felt different. You answered, but you were no longer waiting for their attention. You were caring, but you were no longer trying to convince them. You were kind, but you were standing firmly in your own peace. And they felt that change immediately. Their heart noticed it before their thoughts could explain it. Instead of opening up honestly, instead of expressing what they truly felt, they started searching for answers in other ways. They started observing. They started testing the situation. The universe sees every part of this journey. It sees the emotions they hide. It sees the difference between what someone shows outside and what they carry inside. And you were brought to this moment because you deserve to understand what may really be happening, not just what it looks like from the surface. Their mind can create distractions during the day. They can stay busy. They can fill their schedule. They can tell themselves that everything is fine. They can convince themselves that they have moved forward. But when the world becomes quiet, emotions often become louder. And sometimes, those feelings appear in dreams. In those dreams, memories of you return in unexpected ways. They may see you in places that feel familiar but impossible. They may hear your voice. They may see your smile. They may experience moments where everything feels peaceful again. In those dreams, you are not asking for anything. You are not chasing them. You are simply present, calm, whole. And that version of you creates a feeling they cannot ignore. They wake up, and for a brief moment, the distance feels like it never happened. For a few seconds, everything feels close again. Then reality returns. The silence returns. The space between you becomes real again, and they are left alone with emotions they cannot easily explain. They may not have the words for it, but their feelings continue to exist. Their body reacts before their mind can create an explanation. A sudden heaviness when something reminds them of you. A strange feeling when they notice you have become quieter than before. A wave of emotion when a song plays that brings back a memory of you. Small things become reminders. Their breathing changes. Their attention shifts. Their reactions reveal what they try to hide. When someone mentions your name, something inside them responds before they can control it. Their expression changes for a moment. Their thoughts return to you. Then they try to push those feelings away again. But some emotions are difficult to silence. The truth often appears in the smallest reactions. And they may have been feeling this for longer than they want to admit. They look at your profile. They notice your updates. They quietly observe the person you are becoming. They notice the little things. They notice the time passing. They see that you are continuing with your life. They see that you look peaceful. They see you sharing moments where you are smiling, and that smile no longer includes them. They look at your updates. They scroll for a while. They put the phone away. Then moments later, they pick it up again. They wonder if you noticed them. They check if you viewed what they shared. They post something they know might catch your attention. Then they wait. They look again. They see that you watched, but you did not react the way you once did. They notice that you are moving forward, without stopping to prove anything. That silence says more than words ever could. They type your name. They pause. They erase it. They begin writing a message, then stop before sending. They close the app. A few minutes later, they open it again. They want to say something, but they are searching for a safe way. Something simple, something casual, something that could mean nothing, or could mean everything depending on your response. Finally, they send it. And then they wait, not only for a reply, but for a feeling, for a sign, for the warmth they used to feel coming through the screen, for the version of you that always rushed toward them. They noticed the change. They noticed when your energy returned to yourself, and the universe knows what that realization awakened inside them. Stay with me, because this next part reveals something many people overlook. What they feel may be deeper than simple attachment. It may not be about an idea they created in their mind. It may be connected to something they experienced with you that felt different from anything before. And sometimes, when someone loses access to that feeling, they finally understand its value. They may try to forget. They may try to move forward. They may fill their days with distractions. But when they wake up, the feeling is still there. Place your fingers gently on the inside of your wrist. Feel your pulse. Notice that steady rhythm. It has continued through every quiet moment, through every unanswered question, through every night you wondered if the connection meant anything. Your heartbeat did not stop, because things became uncertain, and the emotions connected to meaningful moments do not always disappear, because people create distance. The universe sees the nights they stayed awake thinking. It sees the thoughts they keep hidden. It sees the feelings they struggle to express. And this message found you because you may finally be ready to understand what those confusing actions could really mean. If they could speak openly without fear, without pride, and without the walls they created around their emotions, these are the words they might say. I noticed the moment you changed. I was not prepared for it. I became comfortable knowing you were there. I became used to your kindness, your attention, and the way you always reached back when I reached toward you. I did not realize how much I depended on that until it changed. And when it changed, something inside me became impossible to ignore. I did not know how to express it. I have always struggled to say the things that matter most. So instead of being honest, I reacted from fear. I tested the connection. I know that was not the right way. But a part of me needed reassurance. I needed to know if your care was still there beneath the silence. I wanted to know if I still mattered to you. I think about you more than I expected. I never planned to still feel this way. I tried to move forward. I tried to stay busy. I filled my days with distractions. I filled my nights with anything that could keep my mind away from you. But it did not work. Somehow you were still there. I remember how you used to reach for me. I remember the comfort of knowing someone truly cared. I remember the way you listened, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but actually being present. I remember the moments when everything felt easy between us. I remember the time before fear and confusion made things complicated. I remember your smile. I remember your voice. I remember small details I never told anyone about. I remember more than I ever admitted, even to myself. I told myself I was okay. I told myself you were only a part of my past. I told myself time would slowly remove the feelings. But I was wrong. I am still carrying this chapter. I still do not know how to close it. And now that you are quieter, I do not know where to place all these emotions. I keep trying to leave small openings. I keep hoping you will understand without me having to say everything directly. I keep looking for signs, and every time you do not chase me, every time you remain calm, every time you respond with kindness but not desperation, something inside me changes. A part of me feels relief, because the person I see now is the person I always knew existed, the complete version of you, the stronger version, the person who does not lose themselves trying to be chosen. But then another thought appears. What if it is already too late? What if you have moved on? What if the distance was created because of my own actions? I do not know where to put these feelings. I only know that losing you quietly is something I was never prepared for. Losing someone who mattered so much without even fighting for them is the hardest thing to accept. Right, I hear you in the comments. Not for anyone else. For yourself. Because deep down you have felt something like this. Your heart has noticed what your mind kept questioning. You were not the problem. You were not too much. You were someone offering something real to someone who did not yet know how to receive it. And now, it is time to understand what these tests may represent. This is the part many people misunderstand. Their actions are not always about playing games. They are not always about trying to control the situation. Sometimes they come from uncertainty, fear, and the struggle to be vulnerable. Their testing may be the closest expression they know how to give when direct honesty feels difficult. It can sound like, do I still matter? Is there still a chance? Is it safe to open my heart? They are not always questioning your love. Sometimes they are questioning whether they can finally reveal their own. The person who feels nothing does not spend so much time watching silence. The person who has completely moved on does not search for small ways to reconnect. The person who no longer cares does not wait for a response that carries emotional meaning. Hear this clearly. Sometimes the quiet moments reveal the feelings people are afraid to say out loud. Their tests are fear wearing the mask of distance, and underneath that fear may be emotions they do not know how to express. The feeling did not simply disappear when they stepped away. Sometimes feelings remain even when someone creates space. What they write and erase late at night is not always uncertainty. Sometimes it is a heart that wants to speak but does not know how to find the courage. And the universe sees every hidden struggle. It has always seen the moments that nobody else witnessed. What is meaningful between two people does not vanish just because one person becomes afraid. Sometimes it becomes quiet. Sometimes it changes form. Sometimes it searches for a different way to be understood. But what is real leaves an impression. Bring both hands gently to the sides of your face right now. Hold yourself for a moment. Feel your own warmth. Let that remind you of something important. You are not the same person who waited endlessly for answers. You are not the same person who chased for reassurance. You have become someone they have never experienced from you before. Someone who found strength in their own presence. And that transformation is powerful. The universe sees what has changed within you, and they notice it too. You were not imagining every feeling you experienced. Your emotions were real. Your connection was meaningful, and the journey you shared mattered. Sometimes a story is not finished just because there is a quiet chapter. Sometimes life continues writing when nobody can see the next page yet. Comment I already knew, because a part of you already felt this. A part of you already recognized that something was changing. Now the rest of you is finally understanding what your heart noticed first. Something shifted inside you. Maybe you cannot point to the exact day it happened. Maybe it was a morning when you woke up differently. Maybe it was a quiet night when the waiting no longer felt like love and started feeling like you were losing yourself. And in that moment, without making an announcement, without explaining yourself, without needing anyone's approval, you simply stopped. You used to reach for your phone the moment your eyes opened. You used to let one name control the direction of your entire day. You used to replay every conversation searching for hidden meanings. You used to analyze every word, every pause, every response. You read messages again and again, trying to understand the emotion behind simple sentences. You waited after sending something, watching your screen, hoping those little signs would appear. You carefully chose your words, because you were afraid of seeming like you cared too much. You stayed awake asking yourself what you did wrong. You carried the weight of silence and turned it into blame against yourself. You changed your behavior to make someone else more comfortable. You adjusted your energy around their moods. You gave so much of yourself and then apologized for needing anything in return. But then something inside you changed. You stopped. You stopped checking your phone before giving yourself peace. You stopped allowing someone else's silence to control your mornings. You stopped searching through old conversations for mistakes that were never yours to carry. You stopped creating explanations for things that left you confused. You stopped shrinking yourself so someone else could feel bigger. You stopped asking for love in ways that made you forget your own value. You stopped leaving every door open until your own heart became exhausted. You became complete again. Not because someone returned. Not because someone finally gave you the words you wanted to hear. Not because the silence suddenly disappeared. You became whole because you chose yourself. You chose your peace. You chose your healing. You chose your own identity before anyone else's attention. And even from a distance, that change can be felt. This is what surprises them the most. You did not disappear. You simply stopped waiting. And that is more powerful than any reaction you could have given. Some call this sacred stillness. It is not being cold. It is not trying to punish anyone. It is not a game or a hidden strategy. It is the moment a person realizes they do not need constant confirmation to know their own worth. It is the energy of someone who can love deeply while still standing firmly within themselves. And that kind of presence is unforgettable. They may start noticing reminders everywhere, repeating numbers, familiar songs, unexpected memories, moments that make them pause and reflect. Maybe they see patterns when they are thinking about reaching out. Maybe they notice signs that encourage them to be more honest with themselves. Maybe certain moments remind them of the connection they once had. Whether people call these signs reminders or simple moments of reflection, they can become powerful opportunities to look inward. The universe moves with patience. Life does not always unfold according to human timing. Some things take time because people need time to understand, grow, and become ready. What is meant to teach us often arrives through unexpected paths. What matters is not forcing the timing. What matters is becoming the person you were always meant to be. The most surprising part of love is this. Sometimes the moment you stop chasing is the moment you finally return to yourself. The moment you stop depending on someone else's actions for your happiness is the moment your own light becomes stronger. The moment you become whole is the moment everything around you begins to change. Sacred stillness is not the ending of a story. It is the beginning of a different relationship with yourself, and there is incredible strength in someone who understands their own value. Place both hands gently on your knees right now. Feel the stability beneath your palms. Feel that grounded energy. That calm belongs to you. It has always belonged to you, and that inner peace is something no one else can create or take away. They may search for that feeling in different places. They may look for the same comfort in other situations, but the unique presence you brought into their life was your own. Write "I am the shift" in the comments. Not because someone else needs to see it, because you need to recognize the person you have become. Those 4 words are completely about you. Not about what they decide to do next. Not about whether they come closer, step away, send another message, or remain silent. They are about the person you have already become. The universe sees this transformation, and deep down they can sense it too. The same energy that keeps galaxies moving through endless space has carried you through every difficult night. The same force that moves oceans with the pull of the moon has been guiding you back toward yourself. The same light that shines inside distant stars is also shining within your own heart right now. It did not disappear when they became quiet. It did not weaken when confusion appeared. It stayed alive. It is still burning. The love that keeps the universe moving flows through you, and it has never needed someone else's approval to prove that it exists. You do not need permission to shine. You were never waiting for someone else to give you light. You have always carried your own warmth. The universe has always known this, and now they may be beginning to recognize it too. You are loved not only by one person, but by something much greater than any single connection. Something brought you to this moment, hearing these words exactly when you needed them. This is not just another message passing by. Something inside you was ready to receive it. Maybe the next moment comes as a message. Maybe it is simple, careful, and casual on the surface, but carrying emotions they have been unable to express underneath. Maybe it is a look, a quiet moment where everything they have hidden becomes visible without a single word being spoken. Maybe it arrives in a way you never expected, a small gesture, a gentle step forward, a moment so subtle that only a calm heart would recognize it. But whatever happens, you are ready, and this time you will not lose yourself. This time you will not chase. This time you will not make yourself smaller just to keep something alive. Slowly move your fingers along your arm right now. Feel your own warmth. Feel your own presence. That feeling represents the change that happened inside you. That is the energy they noticed. That is the quiet strength you built when nobody was watching. That is your own stillness returning to your body. It belongs to you. You were seen on the mornings when you got up and kept going without anyone celebrating you. You were seen on the nights when your heart felt heavy, but you still chose kindness. You were seen in the moments when you could have become bitter, but chose understanding instead. You were seen during the quiet afternoons, when you carried emotions you could not explain to anyone. You were seen every time you gave love without knowing what you would receive back. You were seen every time you stayed gentle, even when life gave you reasons to become closed. You were seen when you waited. You were seen when you reached out. You were seen when you finally stopped. You were seen when you started becoming someone who no longer abandoned themselves. You have always been noticed, not only by another person, but by something greater than any human reaction. You were never too much. You were never difficult to love. Everything you experienced did not make you weaker. It made you deeper. It made you wiser. It made you someone rare. What you felt mattered. The connection mattered. The emotions you carried were real to you. And you are not foolish for caring. You are not weak for having a heart that felt deeply. You are someone who loved honestly and discovered something powerful about yourself along the way.